Hi everyone, welcome back. So happy Tuesday to everyone. The night before we get the rate cuts happening tomorrow with Papa Powell. We'll see if we get 25 basis points or if we're going to get 50 basis points. But we'll see what happens then tomorrow, and we'll also see what happens with Bitcoin tomorrow. We might have a wick down, we might have a wick up. We'll see where we go. You can just never tell with Bitcoin nowadays, and even in the past you could really never tell. But here's what we got on the plate. So Cleanspark continues buying more sites. They close on the site of Wyoming as well, so that's good news there. We'll take a look at that. We also have some metrics we're going to take a look at on the miners for the last 12 months. And then we're also going to talk about, well, we'll probably talk about first, the news that came out today with Microsoft and BlackRock partnering to do a fund, basically, to invest in AI data centers. We'll take a look at what that actually entails. I'll give you guys my thoughts on it, as always. And we'll get into the Q&A side of things, okay? So you guys know the drill. Do this every show. So not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. We'll get into Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners right now, see how they're doing. Today was actually a pretty good day for Bitcoin. It crossed above 61,000, which is kind of our resistance line right now. It didn't stay there that long. It actually went up to the 100 simple day moving average, got to that, and came back down a little bit here. So it closed below support or resistance at 61,000. It closed actually at 60,312. So I had a great day today. It was up 3.61%. At one point, it was like up 5%. While the miners, for the most part, did not have a great day. They were up, single digits except for one, it looks like, but Digital did really well today. So we'll see how tomorrow, with the rate cuts happening, we'll see what we get, 25 or 50 basis points. We'll see how that goes right now. But the good thing is we're at least above the simple 50-day moving average right now. On Bitcoin, we'll see if we can get past this. Some are saying that we may have a wick down to like the 52,000 mark. I'm not saying it's out of the question. I think it might be possible. You just never know with Bitcoin. So that is always on the table, and that might be like our last flush out of some people that might be longs in here on Bitcoin going forward. We'll see. You never know on that one. But the miners, there were some in the red. Majority of them were in the green though, which was good. BitDigital had the best day here. It was up almost 11% here on the day. Closed at 293. And then we had BitTier up 3%, Bitfarms up 3%, Zephyr was actually down 1%, Cleanspark was up just barely 0.88, CORZ was up 2.6%, Digihost was up almost 4%, DMG was down 1.8, Hive was up 3, Hut 8 was up 3.5, IREN was up 3.8, then we got Mara being flat on the day, Mawson being down 2.5, Riot being up 2%, Stronghold being up 2.25%, and Wolf being up 3.17%, right? So they kind of stayed in line with Bitcoin for the most part, except for BitDigital. They did better in the beginning, right? And then as Bitcoin was coming down, so did the miners for the most part. That's kind of where we are with them right now. So let's take a look at the story that we do have here, which is going to be on Microsoft and BlackRock partnering up here. So Microsoft BlackRock formed group to raise $100 billion to invest in AI data centers and power. So this is actually very, very interesting there that they are partnering to do that. I wonder why they're doing it. Microsoft could go at it alone if they wanted to. Not sure why they are partnering with BlackRock to do this. Maybe they're just going to create a consortium there to where they could possibly build it out, sell the sites to like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, maybe there. But I mean, Microsoft could do it on their own if they wanted to. So this is a little surprising that Microsoft would do that. But here's some of the key points. The Global Artificial Intelligence Infrastructure Investment Partnership, what is known as, is initially looking to raise $30 billion for new and existing data centers. And we'll take a look at what that actually means for the miners here as far as what their market cap is, and could, this fund just basically swallow up all the miners potentially and just gut the Bitcoin mining side of things and build out their own new infrastructure and things like that. We'll take a look at that. In a second here, the fundraising, which could total $100 billion, will also be used to invest in energy infrastructure needed to power AI workloads. So if you think about Microsoft, well, it's more so on the Bill Gates side. Bill Gates is no longer with Microsoft, but Bill Gates' founder is investing in like these micro-nuclear sites, micro-nuclear power plants, like 50 megawatts, things like that. So I was thinking maybe that would be part of it here as well. They might throw in some money into those types of investments to get the micro-nuclear sites funding and get them up and running in places, potentially as well. Going down here, the companies are part of the Global Artificial Intelligence Infrastructure Investment Partnership, or I don't know how you pronounce this, GAPE, which was announced in the press release on Tuesday. So today, the other participants are Global Infrastructure Partners, or GIP, and infrastructure investors that is being acquired by BlackRock and MGX, a tech investor in United Arab Emirates. This is a quote from Satya Nadella. We are committed to ensuring AI helps advance innovation and drives growth across every sector of the economy. So Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, in a statement, he said the initiatives brings together financial and industry leaders to build the infrastructure of the future and power it in a sustainable way on it. So that's definitely interesting there. The group aims to assemble 30 billion of initial capital with a future goal of bringing up to 100 billion, including from debt financing. Okay. Going down here. Tech companies have been racing to build data centers full of NVIDIA graphics processing units or GPUs that can run generative AI models, such as those enabling OpenAI, ChatGPT, chatbot. Those GPUs consume serious power, and soaring demand has created a bottleneck for standing up new facilities. Well, the bottleneck isn't really there for the miners. The miners are still building out and growing their megawatts and doing all that stuff. So that's why I'm thinking maybe some of this money could be used to buy some infrastructure or buy out the miners themselves in general. Let's see. Microsoft's investment comes on top of the capital expenditures needed to support infrastructure expansion for its Azure public cloud, which supplies OpenAI and other AI customers. Microsoft said in July that fiscal fourth quarter capital spending, including assets acquired under finance leases, totaled $19 billion. So that's just one quarter right there, right? $19 billion on that. The miners right now are like, their market cap combined for the ones that I track right now is about like 19 to 20 billion or something like that. We'll take a look at that here in a second. What else we got here? In January, BlackRock announced its intent to acquire give for $3 billion in cash and around 12 million shares of BlackRock common stock. BlackRock said last week that it expects to close on the deal on October 1st. Okay. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting there. So my thoughts on this, like I said, is I'm thinking that this would be used to possibly buy out some of the miners because they do not want to go into bed with these miners with Bitcoin mining. They want to use the megawatts for their own purposes, right? To build out AI, data centers, all that stuff there. The megawatts is what's really interesting to them. But it's also on my end here, a little concerning because, well, let's get into some of the data here, or the numbers that we have on the miners as far as market cap. I'll give you guys my thoughts as to why I'm a little bit concerned. So if we look at the market cap of the miners as of today, based on the numbers that we have for the shares outstanding and everything else, you can see here that all of these 12 miners account for about 19.7 billion in market cap right now. That is not a lot, right? If you're talking about roughly 30 billion being invested in this fund already, they could easily, let me zoom this in maybe a little bit more for you guys so you guys can see it maybe a little bit better. There we go. It's a little bit bigger. So my thoughts on this is 30 billion. That's quite a bit, right? It's a third more than what the miners are currently marketed at. With that, they could go in and possibly buy the miners out completely and give them a premium by 50% premium, or even they could go into somebody like IREN, right? That's 1.5 billion. They could offer them 5 billion because of the megawatts they have available to them going forward and so forth, so on. That would basically represent 2x, 3x, something like that on where we are right now. If you don't think that IREN would be possibly thinking about selling at that point, I mean, that's kind of the possibility there, right? Same thing with like Cleanspark. Cleanspark is a little bit different there. Cleanspark has, a bunch of sites all over the place with smaller megawatt sizes. Would that be something that somebody like BlackRock and Microsoft fund would be looking to possibly buy out? Maybe not. I think they were looking for larger sites where they can build out huge data centers and do it in one spot. But you never know, right? It could be appealing that it's distributed, but then you're having more issues with having to have more people at different places and then connectivity. Also, just the speed, right? That you want the data centers next to each other, pretty close. So that also plays into it. And who else do you have that has really good sites? CORZ Scientific, potentially. Marathon has some nice big sites as well, 200 plus megawatt sites. You got Riot as well, right? So even if they just go out and buy like Riot, let's just say Riot, TeraWolf, IREN, and Marathon, let's just say, right? So you got 4 billion there. You got Riot at 2 billion, TeraWolf, IREN, and then let's just say they got CORZ Scientific in there just for the heck of it. That only equates to about 12 billion. They could spend 30 billion on that and pay a nice premium for the companies here. Shareholders would be happy. I wouldn't be happy because I think they can get more of an X return on these guys if they get to where they're supposed to get to and Bitcoin where it gets to, right? But if investors would be definitely happy with getting at least a 2 to like a 3x on what they've invested in these guys. So that's my concern there, that if this does play through, some of these miners might be acquisition targets for these huge, what are they called? Not microscalers, but you guys know what I mean, the big boys. Amazon, Google, Microsoft, even, what's the other one there? Larry Ellison's company, Oracle, possibly for building out data centers, even X maybe in there as well. So that's kind of where my thoughts are on this. It doesn't say like they're going to be looking to partner with people to build out. It looks like they want to build out, new data centers that are definitely engineered for this type of applications, this type of specific electricity needs and everything else that's going to get involved with it. But let me know what you guys think of this. But it's definitely an interesting time frame for it. And we've been hearing a lot of stories about people being interested in this HPC AI, and there's all this demand. And maybe finally it'll come to fruition where we're going to see that kind of happen. But I think it's going to be the hyperscalers, is the word I was looking for earlier. Hyperscalers might be the ones that are going to be the most active here, and maybe some of the smaller startups as well, trying to get, depending if they're software bound or if they're looking to build out infrastructure, kind of like CoreWeave is. But that is it. Let me know what you guys think on that one. And then let's get into our next story here, which is going to be on Cleanspark really quick as well. So I think we talked about it yesterday. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yeah, we talked about yesterday. Cleanspark buying 7 sites in Tennessee, I think it was. Tennessee or Mississippi, I can't remember. Or one of those two. Got too many things in my head right now. But Cleanspark today announced it acquires 2 additional sites in Mississippi and closes a 2nd site in Wyoming. So today announced it has acquired 2 Bitcoin mining sites and associated land near Clinton, Mississippi, and closed on its 2nd site in Wyoming. The Mississippi acquisitions have a combined purchase price of $5.7 million and will support a total of 16.5 megawatts. The sites are currently partially complete, and purchase price includes the cost to complete construction of the site infrastructure. So that's not too bad, right? We'd have to run the numbers on it depending on what they are right now and what the actual price was just to purchase the sites, not to include the build out. We could probably figure out what they paid per megawatt. But the sites will be delivered to the company turnkey, ready with an expected completion date of December 1st. Upon completion, the installation, the site will house S21 Pro miners with an expected combined operating hash rate of approximately 1 exahash per second. The addition of these sites will bring the company's data center portfolio in Mississippi to 60.5 megawatts. On September 11th, 2024, the company closed on its previously announced 45 megawatt site in Wyoming. The site is expected to contribute an additional 3 exahash to the company hash rate upon completion. This site will feature immersion-cooled Bitcoin mining data centers, which will support the latest generation S21 immersion XPs. Okay, so that's kind of where those are going at. And then including today's announcement, our operational capacity has soared over the last 7 days, totaling 211.5 megawatts of new capacity. That's an increase of nearly 38%, which will now not only support our target of 37 exahash by the end of 2024, but also our target of 50 exahash in 2025, said Zach Bradford, CEO of Cleanspark. Cleanspark's rapid growth underscores our ongoing commitment to deliver long-term shareholder value. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get to like 50 exahash by the end of June, possibly, or even February, the way that they're going with all this stuff here. So that was one of my concerns that I had for them earlier on in the year when they came out with all these releases on buying machines to get to 50 exahash. I was like, where the heck are they going to plug all that stuff in, especially since they had the delivery schedule for this year? But now we'll see what they're actually going through. So they are, buying things to get to possibly 50 exahash faster than we thought, potentially. Okay, so that is obviously great news here on Cleanspark. They just continue to execute tremendously here. All right. Lastly, we'll get into some metrics here for the last 12 months. We'll go through that relatively quickly. It should be pretty easy, and then we'll get into you guys' Q&A as well. So here's some metrics that I kind of look at every once in a while, at least once a month, just to see how things are progressing here over the last 12 months, and a little bit maybe year over year, year to date, and other things as well. So if we look at the 12-month hash rate difference from where they were just 12 months ago to where they are now, Marathon installed 16 exahash, so that's the top one. If we include what Cleanspark installed here recently in September, that would actually get them up probably higher, but we don't know what Mara installed, so I'm going off of August numbers for all these guys. Riot came in third with 12.8 exahash. Cleanspark number 2 spot with 13.3. And then we got Iris with 10.4 here. And so those are like the top 4. Top 5 would include probably, who else would be in there? Bitfarms with 5.7, almost 5.8 exahash being installed there. Then we got a couple of miners like CORZ with only 5.3, TeraWolf with 5.1.5 exahash being installed, and then we go down to like 3 exahash for Hive, Hut with 3 exahash, Hive with 1.6, Cypher 1.6 as well, Bittier 2.5, and BitDigital 427 only at that point. Now, as far as when it comes to BTC mined here, Marathon is still the top dog with almost 11,000 Bitcoin mined here in the last 12 months, followed by Core. Core has come down in the past. Core has mined more, but this is also including only their self-mining. If we include, and the same thing includes for Marathon, so we'll just go with that. But I think historically in the past, Core has mined more than Marathon has. But just recently, Core has not been upgrading their ASICs or expanding their hash rate much, so that's the reason why it's been coming down here in the last 12 months or so. Okay, then we got Cleanspark here with 7,248, followed by Riot with 4,191, and then who would we have? I mean, we got a lot of the miners that are like in the 3,600 to 700 mark here, roughly. We got, who would be probably the next one with the highest? Cypher, actually, I think. Nope, Iris with 3.8 thousand, then Cypher, then Bitfarms, then Bitdeer, and then TeraWolf as well. And then we got Hut with 2.4, Hive with 2.4 as well, and BitDigital with 1.3 thousand Bitcoin on it. So that's kind of interesting to see there. And then year over year, BTC mine difference, you can see based on the halving event that we had, a lot of miners are actually generating less. Plus, we've seen the network hash rate go up tremendously here in the last year as well. And that's a result of that if you're not growing with the network hash rate, or you pretty much have to double from last year in April to April of this year, and also keep up with the network hash rate increase in order to be in the positive right now. The worst performer here has been Core, down 607 BTC from last year. And then we got Marathon, down 432. Who else is after that? Then we would have Bittier, down 217, Cypher, 206. After that, we would have probably Cleanspark, 181. Followed by Iris, down 165, Hive, 162, TeraWolf, 146. And then also Bitfarms are down 150, but then we only have a couple here. Hut 8 is only down 16, Riot is only down 11, and that's a result of them not having great operations from where they were last year to where they are even now. So that's a result of that. But also they installed, Riot at least installed a bunch there. Hut installed, they didn't really install, they just kind of merged with USBTC. That was a benefit to them, increasing their hash rate quite a bit from where they were, okay? And then hash rate growth from December 2023, this was basically from the bottom that we had in Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. You can see that IREN has grown the most, 9.41x in hash rate, followed by TeraWolf of 6.92, and then we would have Bitdeer 5.3x, Mara 4.82, Cleanspark 3.42 on that one, and that would be kind of like our top 5 growth from that point on. And then you can see how everybody else stacks up. And then percentage up down from the start of 2024, we can see that CORZ is the only one that's up 215% here from the start of the year, followed by Bitcoin being up 36%, TeraWolf up 34%, and then BitDigital being up 1.5, Iris being down 1.6, Hut being down 26, Cleanspark down 28, Bitdeer down 34, Cypher down 35, Bitfarms down 40%, Marathon down 40%, Hive down 41, and Riot, the worst performer here, down 59% from the start of the year. If we look at where the miners are from the bottom at the end of 2022, right, so that was at the December. I'm using the January 3rd numbers for this. So they were kind of a little bit off, but pretty close still. You can see that IREN is up the most, 480%, followed by TeraWolf, 488, Cypher, 421%, Bitfarms, 354, Marathon, 343, Cleanspark, 332. You got, what is that? BitDigital up 326, Bitcoin up 260%, Hut 8 up 159%, Riot up 99, along with Hive, and Bitdeer is down actually 34%. CORZ I don't have the data for because they weren't actually in bankruptcy at that point. But you can see that quite a few of the miners have done better than Bitcoin here. They haven't done like the typical 2x, except for maybe like Iris and TeraWolf, or 3x. But they've actually done better than Bitcoin has if you bought at the bottom. If you were lucky enough to buy at that point, you're doing pretty well right now if you haven't sold already. All right. And then year-to-date hash rate growth, we can see that Cleanspark came in number 1 with almost 16 exahash growth, Riot with 11, Marathon with almost 10.5, Iris with almost 10 exahash here, Bitfarms with 4.8, TeraWolf 2.9, Core with 1.9, Hive with 1.5, Cypher 1.2, Bitdeer 800 petahash. BitDigital actually went down, so along with Hut 8 on the hash rate growth numbers. All right, so kind of interesting to look at these as well to see how they're progressing, how things are kind of just going for the miners here recently. But that's it. So we'll call it a day here, get into you guys' Q&A side of things as well, and we'll be done with it. But as always, you guys know my little sales pitch, and I didn't want that. I wanted, where is it at? This one, and I wanted to go with this one. Patreon members get access to all this data that I have, and that's usually updated with either tonight or tomorrow morning. You'll get updated. The link to that is in the description. If you want access to it, it's $8 a month, or there might be a couple of spots at $5 and $4. If you can get those, you get a nice savings. All right, so that's it. Let's get into Q&A side of things, see if you guys have any questions, comments, and we'll go from there. Okay, what do we got here? Let me give, I'm trying to read through some of these comments here, see if there's any questions. And this is always a little bit delayed as well, so be mindful of that. What else? Okay, so that stuff. Let me see here. East Coast says 10 swing tomorrow between the lows and highs. Some people are going to get wrecked. Maybe if that happens. Let's see. Rectumber says high smash and last dip tomorrow, 52,000 possibly. That's going to be like a wick down, I'm guessing, at that point. Okay, what else we got here? Keith says BlackRock should be busted up. They're large. Okay, let's see here. FYI, mentioned there are two Andres. If you're in doubt which one you are talking to, I'm going to look at one. Okay, yeah, I can tell by the little A that you have there compared to what's the other Andre I have is at. Let me see, is he in here? I thought he was in here. Hard to tell. I can tell maybe by your comments. Let's see here. What else do we have? What do you think about tomorrow's Fed cuts, 25, 50, or 75? I think it's going to be 25, to be honest. I don't think the Fed wants to spook the market. I think 50 basis points would be a little spook to the market, maybe, but we'll see. Question, semiconductor stocks were down today. Do you think that's why the miners were lethargic today? I don't know if they... What's the word I'm looking for? I don't think they go in pairs, right? So if semiconductors are up, the miners are up. If the semiconductors are down, the miners are down. I don't think there's a correlation between the two. Let's see, any chance Cleanspark gets to 250 by 2027, 2028? I don't think so. We're going to see continued dilution. That's going to be happening, so I would find it very hard to believe that they would get that high. Let's see, Ryan says Bitfarms better not sell out to Microsoft. Bitfarms does have multiple sites. Some of the sites are like 200 megawatts plus. Could that be beneficial to like a Microsoft? And well, maybe. I mean, diversification, right? They're in Paraguay, Argentina, Canada, United States. So maybe. But we need to get a nice premium on them. Andre asks, are we starting to be recognized as part of the semi group? And if so, should we not get a rewrite? We should not be as part of the semiconductor group. I don't think so. I mean, maybe companies like Bitmain, okay, right? That's kind of like a semiconductor. They do chips. They design chips. They don't manufacture chips, but they design chips along with Bitdeer. And then Marathon with their Aurodyne, a company that they have a position in. Let's see. Hi, Seb, are you still positive on Bitfarms? BTC up 2,000 while Bitfarms only up 6 cents. Well, a lot of the miners didn't do well today. It's not just Bitfarms. I think Bitcoin needs to get above like 75,000, 80,000 in order for these miners to start ripping much higher. Right now, we're just kind of in the sideways trading action, and it's kind of what we're seeing with the miners in general. HD says, Ryan of Microsoft offers at least double Riot's offer. Let's go. Well, then that's kind of where we would be. Let's see. If 230, so that'd be 460. That's kind of where I think Bitfarms should be valued at right now, at 460. I think they're undervalued as it is. Would I be happy with that? No, I mean, profit is profit. I would be in profit at that point quite nicely. But still way shy of where I think it could possibly go. So wouldn't be too happy about that. Let's see. Hey, Seb, that fund at 30 billion is 54. Yeah, 19. Yeah, 54% is half of that. Then add that on. Yeah, you're correct there. Let's see. Let's see. Andre says hyperscalers. Yeah, that's what I was looking for there. Let's see. If Bitfarms sells out to Microsoft, then they would stop mining Bitcoin and the stock would decouple from Bitcoin. And I have long-term call options strategy banking on that beta relationship. You and maybe other people as well. Okay. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Kyle? What have I missed? Is Microsoft looking to buy Bitfarms? We don't know that yet. They're just doing a fund right now with BlackRock. We'll see what they are looking to do. Victor C. Question: will this new news, well, I'm missing news maybe, will this news have a positive impact on the price of Cleanspark? Are they fully funded to the recent acquirer sites? Yes, they should be, yeah. This is good news, right? They're definitely targeting to get to a higher hash rate than they projected. What was originally 32, now they're saying 37, but they might be at like 38, 39 by the end of the year. Okay. Are these new Cleanspark acquisitions going to be filled with the S21s that are already paid for, waiting for a facility to put them in? They are. I would have to look at let's look at the time frame when they're supposed to be delivered here on it. I don't want to say, yeah, that they're waiting on them or not, but let's take a look at it here. I think I have the dates on when they're supposed to come in. So let's see here. Going down here, okay. Pros, let's see, they bought in April. In November of 24. So those are supposed to come in October, November. That was 30,000. Yeah, 30,000. So those are coming in. They are, let me see where I have them at right now. Based on my numbers of them to here, these were supposed to be in May, June. But those might have been also replaced by some of the older machines here as well, which I'm not aware of. Because I'm getting to 55 exahash. There's 5 exahash extra here someplace, so that might be moved out. So if we look at the exahash that's here, what do we have at exahash? We have about 6.5 exahash, so that'd be almost all of the stuff here used up already. These were scheduled for June through December here, the 234 Terrace miners, so they may have some machines sitting in boxes, but then these haven't shown up yet, potentially. Let's see, this is 23 exahash, yeah. So there's some that so there might be some in sitting boxes still right now. But they're getting sites as fast as they can to plug those suckers in. But I just don't know what the exact figures are on it. Okay. All right. 3 Ring, I think that's how you pronounce it. Thanks for doing what you do, sir. You're very welcome. Appreciate you coming in and watch. Private asks question, do you think that when BTC starts to go up to a lot, 200,000 beyond, that Bitfarms will go even more because these last 9 months with BTC going up 30%, Bitfarms and Cleanspark haven't gone up? I would imagine so that they might possibly catch a nice bid up. I just don't know how much. I think that also with the Riot on their back still, that's keeping the stock down potentially. But yeah, I think they should be at least valued right now, double where they are. And then from there, I think Bitcoin goes up to 100, 150,000. They should be probably right around, between $10 and $15, if not higher, somewhere around there. Keith says, thank you, Sebastian. You're very welcome. Let's see. Why is Bitfarms board own so little of the company? Do they have low share-based compensation? Yeah, their share-based compensation hasn't been great. And they've also had the board members prior were the co-founders of the company. Those guys had a little bit more shares. Both of those guys are out right now. So that's why I think that's kind of low there. Do you expect BTC to benefit from the expected rate cut and lift the miners? I would think so, right? Historically, rate cuts are a good sign for risk on assets, which with the Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners are. So I would think that would be a good thing in the long run. Let's see, Road Day, I can't pronounce your last name. Sorry, but I said Wolf year to date is not 34%, but 76% up. Okay, let me see. Let's take a look at the data here. Did I mix something up here someplace? Let's see here, 12 months. Let's take a look at it. Let's go to the screen. What did I say that they were up? 34%. Where am I getting that data from? I'm not getting that data from here. Okay. 34%. TeraWolf stock price 390 close on date 1/2/24 293, and then they closed at 394. Yeah, why is that 34? Did I do something wrong in my calculation? The stock price 34. Let's see, 293. Yeah, you might be right. 2.93 times 0.74. That'd be $2. 34% of, what's 34%? I'll have to look into this. Let's see why this is not. This should be at least, I mean, their difference is $1, and they're $3. So it makes sense. 34% up, right? Is that right? I think my math's wrong. I think my math is right. We'll have to check on it. But I'll take a look into it. But I think the math is right. I think. So this is basically the gains, I think. Well, we had a gain of $1.01. I'll take a look into it, but we'll see. Okay. Let's go back here. What else we got here? What makes you think that Cleanspark will go up? According to technical analysis, the price is falling down, seems to be in sideways. Same goes for IREN. So why do I think it's going to go up? I think because Bitcoin's going to go up. But their hash rate, the way they are, and the amount they're mining in Bitcoin each month, excuse me, as their hash rate goes up, they should be mining more Bitcoin, getting more market share of the Bitcoin network. As a result, they'll be generating more profits because of it. If Bitcoin starts going up, that's why I would expect them to go up in value as well. Random Mexican, thanks for all you do, Seb. Doing God's work. Rate cuts have historically been followed with market downtrend. Thoughts this time around. Rate cuts. Well, I think depending on which ones you're looking at, I think risk on assets might actually benefit from it, but we'll see. We've had rate cuts before also. Bitcoin continued to go up also at those times, remember? Excuse me. So we'll see. Let's see. Sunblaze says, sorry if you talked about this already. Which companies are likely acquisition targets for Microsoft Fund? I was thinking you're looking at Marathon, possibly. That's on the higher end, though. Marathon because of the megawatts that they have. Same thing with CORZ. Then you're looking at IREN, another one, Riot. And then you might also look at like maybe Cypher and TeraWolf in there as well. But it also depends on the locations. I think companies that have a lot of sites, like Cleanspark, right, where they have multiple sites that have like 50 megawatts or even less. Some are a little bit more, 200 megawatts. Maybe some of those sites would be beneficial to like AI. Excuse me. But the rest, I just don't see that. I mean, Bitfarms is diversified. So, I mean, any one of these could really be bought out potentially, depending on how much they want, megawatts and what they need it for, or how big of a site do they want to build out. But I would think like the top ones there that I said would be like the most ideal ones, I think. What else? How do you see this news affecting the market moving forward? Well, I think the miners that already have HPC intentions, or like we saw a pretty big, well, that's the other thing that I'm surprised about. BitDigital was up today quite nicely, 10% more than any other miners. It was almost like a triple of what the other miners were doing today. I don't know if it's because of the news, because they do have a customer there that's close to $100 million in revenue right now. Then you got CORZ. What was CORZ today? CORZ was up just a little bit as well. It was up 2.68% on the day. I would have thought that one maybe would have picked up a little bit more because they already have a customer in place for HPC AI, right? CoreWeave for 12 years. So, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, what happens when Riot wants to sell their Bitfarms shares? Bitfarms price goes down depending on how fast they sell it. If they sell it slowly, maybe not that much. But if they sell it quickly, then yeah, price is going to be going down. So East Coast says, I'm in the miners for 10x, not 2x or 3x. Well, you're probably not going to get 10x now from these guys here. You probably would get that if you bought towards like the lows of them. Now you probably maybe even got more than 10x. But from here, I just have a hard time believing that they would do 10x unless Bitcoin really starts going like up to 250,000 or something like that at that point. Yeah, Jane says, BitDigital up 11%. No sideways with them. Yep. How many shares does Bitfarms does Riot own now? I think it's still 19.9%. Is Microsoft interested in Bitfarms? I don't know that. I don't think so. But you just never know. Let's see. I feel like Bitfarms won't sell out because they have a bunch of smaller 20 megawatt sites, which I don't think hyperscalers are looking for. Well, they also they're building out in Paraguay, which is supposed to be like a 200 megawatt site, I believe, once it's all complete. So they do have that there. That might be a possibility that, hyperscaler might be interested in, to have data centers in other countries as well, in other continents, basically. Let's see. Andre says a lot of selling pressure hanging over Bitfarms when Riot decides to back out and sell. Yeah, price might be going down at that point. I would think so. Let's see. A very impressive price per megawatt that Cleanspark is paying for their acquisitions. Yeah, they're doing a really good job on these sites, but then again, they're smaller sites, right? You're not going to get too much of a premium on them. And this is kind of their playbook that they've been using here the last 3 years. Let's see. I also noticed on your spreadsheets that you have the S21 immersions as 300 terahash models, but when I check on Bitmain's website, they show that they are 239. The 239 would not be immersion. I think also at the XPs, I think. Check out the XPs, but they're definitely going to be a higher hash rate than just the regular air-cooled miners. With all good news about Cleanspark, it could surpass Mara and exahash next year, maybe even with BTC HODL stack. Could they? No. They would have a hard time catching up to Marathon now. Marathon's got 24,000, whatever it is right now, Bitcoins. It's going to be tough to catch up to them, especially if Marathon continues to buy even more, right? Cleanspark's not buying, they're just holding the BTC that they generate. Let's see. If cut rates happen tomorrow, how would BTC miners react? I would think if we get like a 25 basis points, which is kind of what's been hinted by the Fed, I think the miners would maybe do well. Like I've said before, historically, I think rate cuts are good for risk on assets, which the miners are. Question, these next 12 months, BTC going way up 2 or 3x seems very likely. Do you think Bitfarms and Cleanspark going way up 5x or 7x equally very likely, or do you think there is a real risk they may not? No, I still think that they will do at least a 5 to 7x, if not a little bit higher than that as well. It's kind of what we would expect. Their revenues are going to be much better. Their profits are going to be much better. Profit margins are going to be much better at that point as well. Definitely would see something like that. Corwando says, I feel like there will be a top in Q1, Q2 with the FUD around Bitfarms due to Riot and delays in exahash growth. I may have to rotate Bitfarms into another miner, maybe Cleanspark and IREN. Q1, Q2. Well, they're still targeting 21 exahash by the end of the year, right? Which is what their target was. I think we'll get some clarification come November 6th when we have the board, the shareholder meeting for the board seats. If Riot is successful at getting those board seats filled or not. If not, then we'll see how Riot responds to that. Will they continue to hold the shares, or will they start dumping the shares at that point? Let's see, I already covered that. Is Bitfarms more clean spark than Marathon? I'm not sure what you mean by that question. When will grid shares convert to Cleanspark shares? Don't know. I think that's supposed to be happening in like November, if I'm not mistaken. Sam asks, hi Seb, there are different predictions about the BTC top. Some are saying 90K and some are saying 150 to 200,000. I'm thinking somewhere between 150 to 200,000 is kind of where I'm thinking. 90,000 wouldn't be even a 1x from the previous high. So I don't think that's going to be the case. Okay. What's going on with Paraguay with Bitfarms? Feels like there's some kind of problem there. There might be a problem, we don't know. But they are moving the machines that were supposed to be going to that site over into Stronghold. Could be maybe because they can put them in faster than they already have them. Maybe that makes sense there. And as Paraguay is being built out, maybe it's delayed a little bit. Maybe it's delayed by a month or something like that. Who knows? Okay. Can shareholders vote to make Bitfarms a U.S.-based company at November 6th meeting? That I don't know. I don't know if you can put that on as an agenda for the meeting. I don't know if the shareholders could even do that to force a company to be headquartered someplace. Okay, let's see. I already talked about this one. So yeah, if you guys put in a question, bear with me. I have quite a few questions to get through, and so there's going to be a delay when I respond to your question. Which is better for BTC, a cut of 50 or 25? I think a 25 basis cut is better because it's kind of what's expected. If we get a 50 basis cut, I think that also might spook the market. That might seem like the economy is doing worse than people think or what the expectation is. Conspiracy theory, Riot trying to acquire Bitfarms to sell themselves and Bitfarms to Microsoft. There's a thought. What are your thoughts on Soluna price dropped considerably? PS, love your stream. Thank you so much. Soluna, you're about the miner, right? Soluna mining. They were in trouble back in 2022 financially. They got a new CEO now. He seems to be doing a much better job. They are a small miner. They have been partnering with people to do joint ventures on Bitcoin mining, to do joint ventures on data centers as well. So they're still, I think, maybe in a not really healthy financial situation, but they're in a much better situation than they were before. And I think there was a lot of hype around them just recently with them getting working on an HPC business as well with a partner there. So I think that's kind of what brought the stock up, and it's coming back down to reality, I think, right now. Let's see. Riot not responding publicly to Bitfarms' offer, aka Olive Branch, makes me think it's being seriously considered. Perhaps both parties are ironing out the provisions. Maybe. Yeah. Brad, thank you. Yeah, hit the like button, guys and gals. Let's see here. If Riot dumped all the Bitfarms shares and the stock price falls, do you think it would recover quickly and then maybe push up to the fair value since they are not being held down by that situation anymore? I would hope so. I would be buying more at that point because I do think that they're still way undervalued from where they should be. Let's see. I think it would be smart for Riot to wait to sell Bitfarms shares until peak cycle. I would agree, right? It's a win-win. If you're able to acquire them, that's great. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to do that. But also if Bitfarms appreciates in value, say at least a 3 to 5x with them hanging on to them, then they could definitely do a lot better, right? Stock could even do better. Could go up to 5 or 7x. Who knows? Let's see. I think they'll just sell all Bitfarms stock. Stock price goes up. They'll be looking to make a profit if they lose. Yeah, it could also happen. We just don't know. We don't know what the mindset is of Jason and team there. Hey Seb, at what point are you planning to stop DCing in? When you hit a certain number of shares, or when the BTC reaches a certain price, or just a fixed date in mind? There's no fixed date in mind. It's as long as the miners are undervalued, in my opinion. I'll continue to dollar cost average in. I was buying the miners. I've told you guys this before. Cleanspark at $9, right? And I dollar cost average down. Bitfarms was buying at $5, and I was averaging down. So as long as they stay in that kind of range or close to that range, I'll probably continue dollar cost average into them because I think there's still quite a few multiples to make on this going forward. And as long as I have the cash to do it. Let's see. Anyone else feels like we're on the edge of a huge rip higher for real this time? So much happening now. Yeah, we've been seeing that for quite a while. It would be nice to get a nice rip up. I mean, Bitcoin's kind of bouncing back up a little bit right now. It's back up to 60,250 roughly. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Question, is Cleanspark still diluting? Potentially. Excuse me. They were diluting last quarter, which we saw the results of that based on the number of shares. I would expect them to keep diluting a little bit more as well, as they probably want to get to 50 exahash. I believe the 30, maybe even the 50 exahash. I can't remember now. There's just so much data that I have in my head. I just don't want to be wrong, but I thought they were fully funded to 32 exahash at least, and possibly 50 exahash as well. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Let's see. Brad says, took a small piece of CORZ as profit today. Nice. Yeah, CORZ has been doing really well. When would you predict the peak of the cycle to be? I'm thinking if, historically speaking, if we get the same kind of cycle like we had before, somewhere in Q3, Q4 of next year. That's kind of where I would think we would have the peak. But time will tell. Okay, let's see. Do we have any other questions? I think that is it. Peak is when you hear non-Bitcoiners talking about BTC with other non-Bitcoiners. Yeah, so when you have your janitor or your barista coffee making, he's talking about Bitcoin and miners, that's probably when we reached peak. Or your laundry cleaning lady or man. Let's see. Hi, so many of us weren't here in the last cycle. What are the differences and similarities for the miner stocks? We're seeing kind of similarities in price performance after the halving event. We saw a little bit different before the halving event. We saw a difference there. So that's something that's never happened before, where the miners were actually going up along with Bitcoin. Before the halving, historically, they were actually going down last cycle at least. So that was a little bit different there. But after the halving event, they're acting like they acted the prior cycle as well. Or yeah, or when co-workers start talking about it, yeah. Your grandparents start talking about it. Should I be buying Bitcoin or Bitcoin miners? Yeah, that might be a sign there. Question: do I just need to be patient these next 12 months and Bitfarms and Cleanspark will both do great as BTC goes great, or do you think there is a real risk holding the miners? I think, to be honest, this is just me. I'm going to be patient. I think there's still much more upside potential. Right, we're still counting on a minimum of 3 to 5x on the miners, potentially some getting higher even than that. But I mean, if you can still get at least a 2x on these miners, 3x, that's going to be great for a lot of people. But if you can get a 5x, that's fantastic. Now, I'm not going to be able to get the peak of it all. So I'll start dollar cost averaging out, right, as we're going up into the bull run. And then I'll also dollar cost average out as we're going out of it. So it should be actually like this way, right, that way. So I'm not going to be able to get like an exact 7x or 5x. It'll be somewhere in between there. But I'll be fine with that. Let's see. America's Realtor, thank you very much. You have been great. Oh, thank you. Thanks for coming in. Do you think IREN will exceed the 20 exahash target when they release the September results early October? My bet is they get to 21 exahash. They could potentially, yeah. I mean, they've been rocking and rolling here recently. Yeah. What is it? Laundromat. Dry cleaning. That's what I was thinking of. So shall we expect same run like November, December of the last cycle? It might be faster than the last cycle. Remember, each cycle we get like a month faster to the all-time high. It seems like so. We're looking maybe at like October possibly being the peak, if not September. I would say maybe October. Let's see. What if BTC crashes along with the stock market tomorrow? Buying opportunity for me at that point. What are your thoughts about Bitfarms strategy with Stronghold? Since they're serious about buying Bitfarms or Stronghold out anyways, and if they can get that done sometime in Q1 of next year, they sign a contract right now for the hosting for a year, doing a revenue split. I think that's a pretty good thing to do really quick. It helps Stronghold out also. I think they're doing this to help out Stronghold more than anything else maybe. Plus they're fronting them money, so to help them stay afloat. I'm thinking on that side of things, but in the long run, I think it's a great deal. Can miners survive future BTC halvings in case of a long recession or a failed BTC cycle? Oh, good question. I think they can. And the reason I think they can is because if Bitcoin doesn't do well, or if we have what you call a failed cycle, at that point, the miners that have good electricity costs, good operations, low overhead, and scale, they should be able to survive, because at that point the network hash rate should be dropping down, which would then take off some of the less efficient, less profitable miners offline basically, which would then give them still a little bit of boost on their profitability, maybe keep them profitable at that point. So there's always that kind of effect on the network where if things are too down and gray for profitability, some of the miners that are not profitable will shut off, bringing those that are still profitable into maybe more profitability at that point. Thoughts on the price action today? Everything went up massively, then kind of ended close or to break even. On the miners, yeah, it was. They followed Bitcoin. Bitcoin was up 5% on the day plus a little bit. It went to our 100 simple moving average, touched that, came back down and below our 71,000. Not 71,000. Was it 61,000? Yeah, 61,000 was our support. You can see it here on the chart. Where is that? There it is. Okay, so we came up to the 100 simple moving average, touched that, came back down, and we got below our resistance here at 61,000. So we still closed above that. We need to close above that again to maybe continue going forward, but we'll see. I mean, look at this. For the last several months, we've been kind of trading in this. I mean, where's the bottom? The bottom is pretty much here at 53,000. Looks like The top has been 73,000, but it's been kind of getting compressed more and more so as time goes on, it seems like. And eventually we will pop, I think. Okay. Okay, what else we got here? Robin says, I've been on the buy side of Stronghold, and I think it's this hosting agreement is great. Yeah, gets their exahash up quicker. It's a pretty good thing. Can Cleanspark hit 20 this year? If Bitcoin gets up to like 90, 100,000, I think so. We could be even north of that. Hive is HUD 8 overvalued. They mine a little Bitcoin, but their stock price is higher than Cleanspark. Well, don't look at the stock price. Stock price doesn't tell you everything. The stock price just tells you what the value is of the company times the number of shares outstanding. You get the market cap. That tells you more than anything else. So if we look at the market cap of the companies here, where is it at? Let me pull that up. Pulled it up earlier. Break even. We got too many sheets. Where is it at? Market cap. There it is. Okay. Let's see here. HUD 8 is valued at $1 billion. Cleanspark is valued at $2.2 billion, right? Now, when we look at like the enterprise value on the miners, see where things stack up then. You can see that HUD 8 is being overvalued on their current hash rate, 130 million per exahash, compared to Cleanspark only 69 million. This tells me that they are overvalued. HUD 8 is overvalued, but their overvaluation is based on a promise of HPC in AI glory, right? They got $150 million investment from Code 2. We'll see what they do with it. They do have some revenue coming in from small HPC clients that they have right now, data centers and things like that, but they're not being valued on their Bitcoin mining. They're being valued on the potential of HPC AI right now. Okay, so that's kind of the way things are stacking up currently. All right, what else we got here? Robin says they will reduce Stronghold's debt as they get closer to the closing date for the sale of Stronghold. Okay. Kite says, thanks for the answer. Great work. Thank you, and you're very welcome. Jane says, smash the hammer. Thank you for another great show. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming in. What else do you have? Aside from mining questions, I'm amazed how calm when you respond to comments from Andre and Chris, I guess the Riot guy. How do you reach that level if you don't mind me asking? Thanks. Being calm, I'm just genetically wired that way. It takes a lot to get me riled up. So it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, right? Sometimes I think maybe I don't show my emotions as much as I probably could. At least my wife says that sometimes. But it takes a lot to get me riled up. So it's great for like working environment. The company that I work with and the people there, I have a great relationship with them. They know they can count on me. I can always figure out a solution to a problem without, blowing a fuse. Because we're all humans, we all make mistakes. It's just how do you fix it going forward? Look at what's the right path going forward, I guess you could say. So that's kind of where I'm from on this thing as well. But yeah, it's just, I think it's genetics. I don't know, maybe my environment that I was raised in also could be that. I'm also an introvert. So I know I'm an introvert, but I'm doing this. So this was one of the things that I wanted to better myself with by not fearing talking in front of a camera, which is still bizarre to me. I'm here kind of spilling my guts to you guys, kind of like maybe a therapy session in a sense as well. But it also helps because that way I'm trying to teach you guys the things that I know, so then I retain more of the information as well, and you guys also ask great questions. But yeah, it's just trying to be calm. Don't get too overexcited, I guess. Let's see. Bottom line is no one knows what's going to happen. If you can, you should take profits. Yeah, there's no wrong, or there's no regret in taking profits, I guess. There's nothing wrong with taking profits. I saw BlackRock and Microsoft news is buyout of potential miner, pure speculation. It is right now, pure speculation. So that's why we're kind of looking at it, because it doesn't state they're looking to build out, right, in that article. And build out means they're going to look for megawatts, and who has megawatts right now? It's the miners, really, if they want quick access to it. That's kind of why the speculation is there. IREN would not agree to sell their business. If given enough money, people will sell, right? If they get 200% increase in they could possibly sell, right? That's quick money there. Bullish or bearish on tomorrow, Sebastian? I'm Geez, I'm bullish every day. If we get bearish, well, that's a buying opportunity for me. So either way, I love it. Private, is it a 1-to-1 correlation that as BTC goes 2x or 3x, Bitfarms and Cleanspark will also go way up? Or is it a possibly a risk that even as BTC goes way up, Bitfarms and Cleanspark may not? Just trying to figure this out. Historically, there is a correlation. So Bitcoin goes 2x. Typically, the miners do like a 3x on top of it. So like a 6x. I go by 5x, being a little bit more conservative. I go like a 3 to 5x on it. But historically, that's kind of what has happened. Now, the reason that the miners go up is because the revenues increase so much and their profitability percentage also improves so much. And that's why people start buying these companies, because they're just printing money at that point. Let's see here. Seb is always calm because weed is legal in the state. Yeah, don't take any weed though. It is legal in my state. Victor says you could be a good mediator. Yeah, possibly. Working between the two different parties, but I don't like conflicts. Let's see. You're doing a good job. To keep it up, Sebastian. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ryan. Let's see here. I think tomorrow we'll see a short squeeze. We'll see, right? Either way, I'm okay with it. All right. I think I cut up to all you guys' questions here. All right. So that's good because we've been going on an hour. And I need to get to sleep. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting day. We got the Fed lowering rates. We'll see whether we get 50 basis points or 25 basis points. We also had, Elizabeth Warren write a letter that she wants 75 basis points. Like, oh my gosh, that woman, I have no idea where she got educated on economies and things like that. But it is what it is. We'll find out what happens tomorrow. Nobody has a crystal ball. I wish I had a crystal ball, but I don't. So we will see. All right. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much for coming in. Love you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow.